also continuous development of you as a young professional. I'm very excited to be here with all of you today, and I am hoping you guys will interact with the content as much as you possibly can. This is a very safe space to share your thoughts, your comments, or your questions, so please feel free to engage as much as you can.
There we go. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. So now let me just share my screen. Today's workshop is based on soft skills for the workplace, why they matter, which ones you need to develop, and how they can give you the edge in your professional life. So let's start with the foundational concept, interpersonal skills. They are the abilities we use to interact and communicate with other people. They include not only what we say, but also how we listen, interpret body language, and manage our own emotions. So there we have a few, which is assertiveness, non-verbal, listening skills. Let me just close this one here. Listening skills, negotiation, verbal communication, problem solving, and decision making. Strong interpersonal skills are the backbone of effective teamwork, conflict resolution, and building positive relationships at work. Some of these or most of these skills are important, and most of the key skills, let me rather say that, the key skills of these are listening, active listening. This means giving someone your full attention, understanding their message, and responding thoughtfully. Being empathy or showing empathy, the ability to understand and share another person's feelings. This builds trust and respect. Communication skills, both verbal and non-verbal. Think about how you speak, your tone, and even your body language. Teamwork, collaboration, being cooperative, contributing to a group effort, and also respecting others. Conflict resolution, learning how to manage disagreements in a productive and respectful way. How do we improve this? So improving your interpersonal skills is an ongoing process. Here are some practical steps. Practice active listening. Maintain eye contact, don't interrupt. Ask meaningful questions. Seek feedback. Get constructive input from your colleagues to help you grow. Even if it is just asking, can you please just look at this for me? Just scan through it. Give me some feedback before I present it. Or what do you think about this? What can I add to it? Work on emotional intelligence. Understand your emotions and learn how to read others. Be open-minded. Adapt your communication style to suit different situations. Join workshops or training sessions like you did today. These can sharpen your communication and problem-solving skills. So what's the impact of all of these on your workplace? Strong interpersonal skills lead to improved collaboration, which means team members work better together or more effectively together. It reduces conflict. Misunderstandings are resolved before they escalate. High productivity. They are completed more efficiently. Tasks. Better leadership. Good leaders know how to motivate and communicate clearly. Great job satisfaction. People enjoy their work more and are less likely to leave. So next we'll talk about presentation skills. These are your ability to deliver information clearly and confidently to an audience, which it's in a formal setting or a casual meeting. Your ability to engage listeners, explain your ideas, and influence decisions is crucial. Before we talk about how to improve your presentation skills, let's cover what are the key skills. Clear communication or clarity. Communicate your message in a simple, structured way that your audience can follow. confidence. Speak with confidence, assurance, maintain good posture and eye contact, which falls under body language as well. Engagement. Engage with your audience using storytelling, questions, or relatable examples to keep your audience interested. Visual support, visual aids. Use slides or props to reinforce your message, not to replace it. Your time management. Stick to your time and pace your delivery to keep it smooth, which I hope I'm doing today. How to improve it? Improving your presentation skills. Start with preparation and practice. Know your audience. Structure your message clearly and work on your delivery. Use confident body language. That is if you're doing a presentation in person. Maintain your eye contact and speak clearly. Use tools and visuals to support your points, but don't rely on them too much. Your delivery is key. So at Unisa, what do we offer you in terms of practical support? So how to get to this? We offer you some basic skills. It is a MOOC that you can do, basic skills in presentation, basic skills in Microsoft Word online, advanced skills in Microsoft Word. So what you'll do is you log on to your My Unisa, you click on the My Module tab, drop down, click on the Western Cape region. Under the Western Cape region, there's a list of support sites that we offer. So you'll click on the digital learning. Under the digital learning, you'll scroll down to the bottom and then you'll find this. So you can sign up for this, enroll for these courses. It's absolutely free at Unisa. There's assistance as well. So please feel free to sign up for these MOOCs. And then before we wrap up my part of the presentation, I'd like to share a few free tools you can explore to create engaging presentations. These include platforms like Canva, Google Slides, Microsoft. They are accessible, easy to use, and can help you present your ideas clearly and professionally. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat or raise them during the Q&A session at the end or even during the chat. Like Sunny said, feel free to interrupt, put up your hand and we'll unmute your mic. But for now, thank you for your attention and your time. It's been a pleasure sharing this with you. With that, I hand over to you, Sunny.
So today's session is about skills development for the world of work. Okay. Let's first dive into the objectives of today's workshop. The first thing that we'll be looking at is building deep self-awareness. And then we'll talk about us practicing assertive communication. We will draft a self-leadership SMART goal, or rather practice doing that. And then we will learn a 3-step conflict resolution model. But before we get into it, I am going to start with an icebreaker to ensure that everyone is still alive and kicking. So I'm going to ask everyone to please participate in this. Please drop in the chat your name. It doesn't have to be your full name. You can just write Sane if you have a long name like mine. Just write Sane, your degree, and one word describing how you feel about your future career. So for me, it would be Sane, LLB, excited. I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes to share on the chat function. Okay, Zuki. I see Zuki become in, I don't know what MPT. That sounds very stressful. I would be anxious too. Okay, Megan, Bachelor of Science, Honors Environmental Management, curious and motivated. Angelique, Bachelor of Social Work, curious. Okay. Internal auditing. Okay. Thank you, Zuki, for that. Candice, fellow LLB, super excited as well. Love it. Praise, become uncertain, ambisiwe. Babes, advanced diploma in electrical engineering, certain about my future, all the way to higher certificate in law, excited. I see all the law people are excited. I love it. And it's not become excited. Okay. Thank you guys for sharing. I think it's natural to be curious, excited, or anxious about the world of work because you are moving into a completely different live stream and your independence is tested, your conflict resolution is tested, and every day is a character building experience, whether you're working remotely or you are working on site. But today we're going to try and ease all of those not so positive emotions that you might feel about your future career, starting with our first session, which is on self-awareness. Because in as much as it is important to know what the problem is around you or what issues you are facing, it's also important to know yourself. I'm actually going to switch on my camera. Hope you guys can see me. It's very important to be self-aware. Now, simply put, self-awareness can be described as recognizing your emotions, your strengths, your limitations, your values, and your impact. This obviously extends to more than that, but these are the core things that you need to be aware of before you can move forward. Let's look at the benefits of self-awareness. Now we are going to look at self-awareness in the prism of your professionalism or your career. The first benefit is that it helps you align your career choices with your passions. For example, I'm passionate about speaking. So I made the right choice going into LLB. I made the right choice also working for Jobox and doing workshops and being client facing because I love speaking. I'm passionate about working with young people. Okay. Then we go to the second benefit, which is reducing your stress by knowing your triggers. It's very important to understand your triggers so that you either find ways around them or you avoid them. Because doing the same thing over and over again and expecting results is a bit, you know. The third thing that we need to look at when it comes to the benefits of understanding yourself is that it helps you build authentic relationships. Because if you know who you are, you know the kind of people that you want to surround yourself with. You also know the kind of people you need to surround yourself with. Now that we have a little bit of an understanding about self-awareness, we're going to have a little activity again. We're going to be using the chat function. I'm going to ask you to take a minute to think about 3 strengths that you currently have and 1 weakness that you have. And then I'm going to ask you to use the chat function to share either a strength or a weakness. I'm going to give everyone 2 minutes to think about this. Okay, to kick things off, I'm going to share my own weakness, which is impatience. How do you even spell it? Okay, B, Suseni says, their weakness is procrastination. Understandable. Thank you for sharing. Lily too, impatient and impulsive. Welcome to the club. Thank you for sharing. Don't be shy, guys. This is a safe space. Megan is an overthinker. Another strength of hers is speaking, okay? Oluwato's weakness is inconsistency, okay? I love that you're highlighting your strengths as well as your weaknesses. Another thing about highlighting your weaknesses is also finding a way forward. How do you move past that? You've already done the first step now, which is acknowledging that you do have a weakness. Now what? What are you going to do about it? So you need to have that at the back of your head. I see Zuki said, I realized I can't think of strengths of or weaknesses. Is that normal? No, ma'am. I'm joking. It is completely normal. The first step of self-awareness is understanding where you're at right now in order for you to move forward. So if you can't think of your strengths or your weaknesses, write down skills that you know, okay? And then from that, ask yourself, am I capable of doing this? Am I doing this? Yes, no. If you can't do it, then it might be a weakness. If you can do it or you are good at it, then it might be a strength. So that's how you would move forward, trying to narrow down what strengths or weaknesses that you might have. So it's completely normal to not know because you haven't thought about it. But now is the time to sit down with yourself and understand yourself with your capacities and where you lack. And then we see Angelique says patience, perseverance. I'm assuming those are your strengths. Your weaknesses are that you don't talk a lot. Okay. Candace is being detail oriented and sometimes too much. Sometimes you need to find a balance with that because being detail oriented is actually a good skill to have, especially when you're working with a lot of people. It helps you bring things back to the task at hand, and it also helps you highlight where you may have gone wrong or where you need to improve, and also what you're currently doing well. But also being overly detail oriented might waste time, especially with tasks where you just need to say yes or no and then you move on. So you need to find a balance with that. Oluetu says strengths are communication, writing, and language. Okay. I'm seeing procrastination and impulsiveness, as well as impatience, are um, our leading weaknesses. And then I see communication as well as speaking are two of our leading strengths. You're welcome, Zuki. Please feel free to reach out if you need more information regarding that. I'm going to share my contact details at the end of the session. Cool, cool. Before we move on to assertiveness, does anyone have any questions regarding the session that we just had about self-awareness? Okay, let's move on to assertiveness. Now, assertiveness can loosely be described as clear, respectful expression of needs. Sometimes we confuse assertiveness with being aggressive, or sometimes we confuse assertiveness with bullying. There's a difference between the two, and the difference is the respectfulness and also being considerate of the other party or other parties. Let's talk about the difference between being assertive versus being passive and versus being aggressive. An example of being aggressive could be saying to a person that's unacceptable, fix it. You're not explaining why it's unacceptable. You're not trying to understand where the other person is coming from. You just decided that this is a no and you need to fix it, and that's that. Now you want to shy away from this because it's not a good trait to have, especially when you're going to be working with teams, because in teams there are people from different backgrounds, different also personalities as well. So the general thing is that people don't receive aggression very well. So it's very important to shy away from it. And then we look at the opposite of aggression, which is being passive. Yeah, someone asks you to do something and you're like, sure, whatever you want. So you're not being direct about the fact that you disagree with what they say or you don't want to do what they say, but there is an undertone there where you're like, sure, whatever you want. So here, what you are implying is that the person is bullying you, or you might also be implying that you're just going to do as they say. You don't really care about the outcome because they said it, you're just going to do it. And that's basically what you're doing. That's the signal, whatever you want. Now here, this is also difficult to receive as the second party because now you don't know where you went wrong. You don't know what boundaries you may have crossed with the person saying these words. So it's difficult to work with passive aggressive people as well.
Now, what you want to be is assertive. Now, when you're being assertive, you use a lot of I statements. So instead of blaming the other person, you're focusing on yourself, what you feel, why you feel that way, and what you would like to happen. Okay, so an example could be, I feel X when Y and I like Z. For example, you could say, let's say you're given a lot of tasks at last minute. You could say something like, I'm a bit overwhelmed when I have multiple last minute projects with tight deadlines. This is because it's challenging for me to prioritize tasks effectively. I'd like to discuss possible extensions or additional resources I can use to ensure that I deliver high quality work. So one, you stated how you feel and when you feel that. So I feel overwhelmed when I am given last minute tasks. I would like to discuss deadline extensions. Okay, 3 components. Now we're going to have an activity. Again, we're going to be using the text function. I would like each person to share with us how they would respond to this in an assertive manner. Let's say it is a Monday. It's a crazy Monday at work. Everyone has their plates full. And then a colleague says to you, can you please do 2 more tasks for me? They are due in an hour. How would you respond assertively? I'm going to give everyone 2 minutes to think about this. I'm going to go back to the previous slide. Sorry. I'm going to go back to the previous slide. Let me stop sharing so that you can see the 3 things to focus on. Zukiswa, how would you respond in an assertive way? I may not be able to do your task in an hour. However, I am happy to assist as soon as I'm done with what I'm busy with. Okay, that's really good. That's really good. So you don't have to necessarily use the exact words I feel. Okay, no, I'm unable to take both tasks at this time. I can only focus on the one at hand. Okay, that's really good. Perhaps offer something different. Maybe say, I'm open to looking into it later on or discussing it later on so that you are not completely shutting them down. Otherwise, that's really good, Candice. Mukega, I will respond like this. It's unfair. Please give me time to do time for the task. Okay, so here, remember, we want to be assertive. So what we would say is maybe I am currently swamped. Good I statement. Oh, sorry, that's someone else's response. You'd say, I am currently swamped. I'm going to steal Olwetu's line. I'm currently swamped. Could you please give me more time to prepare? Okay. I'm swamped already. Could you please give me some time for the task? Yes, yes. I will try my best because it's short notice. Okay. And then afterwards, you communicate if you cannot meet that deadline. It's very important to communicate. I first need to complete my task at hand. Could I possibly assist you at X time today? Yes. But does this require top priority treatment? Very good, Megan. I like that you are checking in with the person to check whether this is a priority task. I'm a bit behind with my task from the previous week. However, I will do yours as soon as I'm done. I'll let you know when I'm done. Right. I like the differences in your responses. And I like that you started with where you're at as the person. Just a quick reminder to shy away from being aggressive. So even if you feel like it is a bit unfair, try to use what we call the sandwich method, where you start with something positive, something negative, something positive. So you could say, for choosing me to assist you with the task. However, I think it's a bit short notice for me to be able to assist you. Would you like us to chat about this a little bit later if it is not a high priority task or if it is not due today? Okay. Thank you very much to everyone for sharing. Do we have any questions about assertive communication before we move on to our next session? Cool. Our next session is mindfulness. Okay. Simply put, mindfulness can be described as non-judgmental and present moment awareness. Let's look at the benefits of mindfulness. The first thing is that it lowers stress. If you can pinpoint where you're at, your brain is not all over the place and you are not trying to focus on different things all at once. You are well aware of what is going on. It helps enhance your focus. If you have a better understanding of where you're at, you can better focus on the task at hand. And then thirdly, it improves your decision making. Think about it this way. If you are running while juggling, while eating, and then your phone rings, what are you going to do? That's you not being mindful. But then if you are mindful, you know that, okay, I'm juggling, I'm eating, I'm running. Let me stop for a minute. Okay, let me finish the juggling. Okay, done. Let me finish chewing, and then let me run. That improves your decision making because you are well aware of what's going on at what point. Okay, now we're going to have a little mindfulness activity. I hope everyone is in a comfortable place. If you can, I'm going to ask everyone to please close your eyes. Please be seated in a comfortable position and place your feet on the floor. And then place your palms on your thighs. Now, while everyone's eyes is closed, I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath in using your mouth. Hold it. And then a deep breath out using your nose. Deep breath in using your mouth. And out using the nose. Okay, for the last time, deep breath in using your mouth. And out using the nose. Now you can open your eyes. And please type the first word that comes to your mind in the chat function. Okay, Shireen says kind. Overwhelmed. No, there's no wrong or right. Thank you, Lede, too. Positive vibes. Thank you, Candice. Calm, positive, centered. Okay, thank you, thank you. I like the mixed feelings that we have. Relaxation, nice. Okay. I like the mixed feelings that we have here because the misconception when it comes to mindfulness is that you're supposed to be happy, positive vibes the entire time. Sometimes when you check in with yourself, you might find that I'm anxious, I am losing my mind. I don't know if I'm coming or going. And that's okay. Because when you're being mindful, you're trying to understand where you're at. Where am I right now? Am I feeling anxious? Am I feeling scared? Am I feeling overwhelmed? Am I happy? It's just you taking a step back from the world, your responsibilities, everything that is happening, and you're allowing it to be silent so that you can listen to your thoughts. Okay. Now, as soon as you have noted down these thoughts or these feelings, then you can try and break down each one. You can do this by yourself. If you, like me, you like journaling, or you like maybe being besides a water body when you're trying to woosa. You can talk to another person, you can talk to a friend, a family member, or if you want to take it a step further, you can talk to a guidance counselor, a mentor, a therapist. It just depends on how far you are willing to go. But the main thing about mindfulness is taking a step back and checking in with yourself. Because in as much as you want to be the best at everything, the best in top 10 in class, the best in your career, you can't pour from an empty cup. And even if the cup is not empty, the cup being you, you need to understand the contents of the cup before you start pouring. So mindfulness is a very important factor when it comes to your mental health and work readiness. So I would suggest, if you can, at the beginning and at the end of the day, take a couple minutes of everything. Don't be stimulated by music, people, social media, nothing. Just sit there in silence with your thoughts. And trust me, it won't be easy the first few times because you're so used to having something going on around you that you will struggle to be alone with yourself. I will warn you, you might get emotional or you might freak out. So take that time out in a safe space. And don't just decide, okay, I'm going to be mindful for an hour. No, you can start small, like 2 minutes. And then maybe the next week you gradually increase 5 minutes. Next week, 10 minutes. Okay? Thank you so much for participating in this activity. Before we move forward to our next session, does anyone have any questions about mindfulness? I just saw someone said stillness. That's a really good one. Cool. I'm assuming we don't have any questions. Now we're going to look at self-leadership. When we think about leadership again, we often think about leading other people. And that's not incorrect, but other people are not the only people you can lead. You can also lead yourself. It's very important to be able to lead yourself before you try to lead the next person. Now, the easiest or most famous way to practice leadership is using the SMART goals framework. And what you do here, you use the acronym SMART whenever you have to make a goal, whether it's a short-term goal or a long-term goal. So the first thing is specific. Break the goal down as much as you possibly can so that you have a better understanding of what you need to do in order to reach it. For example, as compared to saying, I want to be rich and famous, which I do, I can say, I want to be, let's say, I can say, I want to be the president of the United States. Cool. Specific, is it measurable though? Because it can't just be specific. It needs to be measurable. I can't just decide I want to go to NASA or I want to be richer than Elon Musk. Okay? Achievable. Again, you can't just decide I have an LLB degree and I want to be a doctor next month, a medical doctor. How? It has to be relevant and realistic. One person here shared that they feel like they are not comfortable speaking to a lot of people. That's something that you can work on over time. But then you can't decide that tomorrow I'm entering idols. You don't want to talk in front of people, but you want to be on a world stage. Tomorrow. Time bound. Okay? It's very important that you have goals that are time bound. Because if I say I want to be rich and famous, full stop. Am I trying to be rich and famous tomorrow? Am I trying to be the president next year? Am I trying to be the president in 10 years? If I have all these 5 things mapped out, it helps me create a better action plan when it comes to my goals. For example, if I say I want to be the president of the United States in the next 10 years, that is time bound. It's realistic when you look at the time that I'm giving myself to develop myself. It's achievable considering the educational qualifications that I have and the experience that I have. Again, the time that I'm giving myself to also get more skills and get more knowledge about the actual job that I want to do. It's also measurable and specific because I did point out the job title, where I want to do it, when I want to do it, and how I am going to do it. So whenever you set a goal, make sure that you map it out as thoroughly as you possibly can. This also helps when you have issues such as procrastination. It also helps you when you are trying to prioritize. For example, if you say that you want to, let's say you want to gain weight in the next 2 months, then you're going to change your diet now. And you're going to understand how much you need to eat, which food types you need to eat, which exercises you need to prioritize, how much water you need to drink. You will know everything that you need to do now. You will understand the research that you need to do now because you have a specific goal that is time bound, as compared to say, I want to have a summer body. What is a summer body? You're not specific. Okay, I'm going to leave this on the screen while I talk about the activity. I'm going to ask each person to share at least one goal that they have for between now and the end of the year 2025. So you don't have to go into huge detail. You can just write something as simple as, I want to be able to do acrylic nails by the end of December. I'm going to give everyone 2 minutes to think about this. Can you be delusional when you're trying mindfulness? I didn't see this question. I'm very sorry, Olwecho. You can be a little bit delusional when you're just starting with your mindfulness and you have these big goals. Don't shut them out. It's very important to be aware of where you are right now. That's how you transition into the SMART goals. Now that you have your Dilulu plan, let's narrow it down to an actual SMART goal and see if it's actually realistic. Then if you see it's realistic, you work on it. If you see it's not realistic, you allow it to just be your Dilulu plan. Okay, I see Lily Touchet. I want to be able to control. Sorry, I want to be able to control my, oh, so many people are sharing. I love this. I want to be able to control my temper by the end of the year. I want to stop prioritizing others first, and I want to learn how to choose myself. That is very beautiful, Lily. I think a lot of people can relate to that. Thank you so much for sharing. Andy Soa, I see you shared there. I can't find it now. I would like to be able to complete my degree by the end of 2025. All the best. Zukisa says she wants to finish her current degree and get into the internal auditing workplace. Thank you for sharing. Tamari would like to do away with procrastination. Yes, that's really good. And try using the Pomodoro technique to help you with that, and also write down your to-do list so that you're able to see what's more important as compared to other things. You can also use the Eisenhower matrix to help you break down your tasks into priorities based on importance and urgency. Let's see. I just want to pass the courses that I've registered for this year. All the best, Tony. I want to write my learners. Yes, download the K53 app. It really helps. Oluitu. I want to get my driver's license and get a minimum of 60% on all my modules. All the best, their praise. I want to be able to start saving money and get my beauty qualification. Yes, girl, so that you can do my nails for free. Bukeka says she would like to be happy and learn more about her course and have good marks. Okay, want to pass my modules, want to put myself first. And it has costed me a lot and I can't stop doing it. Managing time, pass the course. Okay, I see the common trend is passing your current degree, managing your time, and also putting yourself first. Very important things. Thank you so much, guys, for sharing. Thank you. I think Tamari shared this, or is it you, Shireen? Yes, the Pomodoro technique and the Eisenhower. Please make use of those things, especially if you struggle with prioritizing your tasks, if you struggle with time management. Those two techniques will help you with your current degree when it comes to studying and balancing that with other life roles. It will also help you as you transition into the workplace, because remember, in the workplace, no one is going to be on your back telling you, you need to do this, you need to do that. They just won't extend your contract. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for sharing. Now we're going to go to conflict management. This is inevitable when you are working with people in general, whether it's in the professional workspace, at home with friends and family, or while you are still studying. So it's impossible to say you're not going to be in a position where you are in conflict with people. So instead of avoiding it, let's try to find ways to manage it. We're going to look at a 3-step model when it comes to conflict management. The first step that you need to consider is actively listening to the other person. So instead of listening to respond, you actually listen to hear them, to hear where they're coming from and to actually hear what they're saying. You can do this by, if it's in person, you can do this with your body language as well. So instead of your arms crossed, you're not even making eye contact, you're rolling your eyes. You actually look at the person as they're speaking. You nod, you ask questions in order to understand. You don't have to agree with what they're saying, but you first have to understand what they're saying. And then after you've heard what they said, validate and empathize. So let's say Sharon from accounts is angry at you because you didn't share your timesheet. Instead of just saying, well, I was busy with more important things, Sharon, you know I work 40 hours a week. What's your problem? You can listen to Sharon. She's frustrated because she has to deal with the auditors and she has to deal with management when the timesheets are missing. You can validate and say, maybe, I understand your frustration. I'm very sorry. I was inundated with other tasks. I completely forgot. Acknowledge what you did wrong and also acknowledge how the other person is feeling. And then collaborate. Now, this is to avoid having the same situation over and over again. You try to find a way forward. You know that Sharon is going to be on your case at the end of every month. You know that you don't like doing admin, and you know that you are forgetful. So how do you move forward? You're aware of Sharon's needs. You are aware of where you come short. So the two of you need to come together to find a realistic way forward. So you can ask questions like, what solutions can we try? Or you can even ask for help. Could you please send me a reminder a week before the timesheets are due? So here, the important things are understanding where the other person is coming from, validating and empathizing, and then collaborating or asking for help or taking accountability for your part. Before we move forward, do we have any questions about conflict management? Well, I'm not seeing anything in the chat. Let's go to our activity. Now you are in the workplace and you're working in a group, and then your colleague says to you, "You took credit for my work." They're very angry at you and they're talking to you like this. They're in your face because they're super angry. How do you respond to this? Remember, you listen, you empathize, you collaborate. How would you respond? I'm going to give you 2 minutes to think about it. Okay, I'm going to start picking volunteers. Let's see. Since you have the same name as me, Miss Matikizela, that's the only reason I'm picking on you. How would you respond to this situation? A colleague says you are taking credit for their work. What would you say? And also, I'm going to ask Megan to please also share. How would you respond to a co-worker telling you that you're taking credit for their work? Just to make sure she's saying that because it's true, or is it allegations? We don't know. You can try to find that out. You can choose with whichever scenario you want. Anastasia. To help us, okay, Megan says, I would sit down with them and ask them to elaborate, okay? For all I know, we could have had similar thoughts and it could have been a misunderstanding. Yes, okay, thank you for that. And then we see Andy Swa says, I will try to understand her perspective regarding my alleged credit taking, clarify my role for a better understanding, and then work towards finding a solution moving forward. Okay, thank you so much, ladies, for sharing. Yeah, it's very important when you're dealing with conflict that you first understand what's going on and you have a better understanding of what the other person is saying, a better understanding also of the environment that you're in. Candice would say, I understand your frustration as you help me. Okay, can you help me as you help me, but give me more clarification and focus on finding a resolution as I put a lot of effort in this project. I like that you validated their feeling and you also tried to find a resolution. I also like that you also asserted that you put in a lot of work in the project as well. Another thing when it comes to conflict resolution, it doesn't mean that you are not asserting where you stand. It's just finding a healthy way to communicate boundaries and also understanding the next person's boundaries if either of the two have been compromised. Beam Suseni says, I would apologize for that just to resolve this conflict, guilty or not, and clarify how I came up with the presentation. Okay, here it's very important that you don't admit to doing things that you didn't do just for the sake of peace. So you can acknowledge that maybe they did put in some work into the project, or you can understand that the idea that you have is similar to the idea that they had, and then you explain to them how you got to where you got. But it's very important to keep the peace, okay? But don't keep the peace at the expense of your own mental health. You need to be able to balance the two and also be assertive, like one of our colleagues here managed to do. And then let's see. Ambesiwa, I understand that we have different opinions of this. Can we address the issue calmly and find a solution that works for both of us? I like that you suggested that we speak calmly. Nomapelo says, I'll try to understand the problem and try to solve it, and lastly come up with the solution. Okay, thank you. Bukeka would say, thank you for bringing your complaint or problem up front. I will definitely have a look at it and sort it out and get back to you. Yes, it's important to use this approach when you see that you're also getting touched. Because if a person comes at you guns blazing, it's only natural for you to also feel a certain type of way. So if you see that you're going to respond in a manner that is unprofessional, you are more than allowed to ask for some time out or to take time out to better check in with yourself and then go back to the conversation when you are more calm. Thank you so much to everyone for sharing. Before I let you go, I am going to ask each person to pledge their action plan. You're going to make a commitment pledge. For example, this week, I will. And then you're going to take accountability. So you're going to choose someone from the chat to be your accountability partner. And then you're going to set a check-in date with that person. You can do that by emailing the person or DMing them. I'm not sure the relationship that you have with each other. An example, I could say, this week I will use my I statement formula in a meeting, and I will partner with Shireen, and we will check in on the 10th of May to see if I actually did what I said I would do. Okay? So what you're going to do right now is share your commitment for the week. One thing that you commit to doing out of everything that we discussed. And then you're going to choose a person from the chat. Doesn't have to be someone you know. I would prefer if it was a stranger. And then you choose a check-in date. I'm going to give us 2 minutes to do that. I'm going to write mine as well. Okay, I see Zukiswa has shared with us. This week, I will stick to my daily study plan and preparing for 2 exams next week. I partner with Andiswa Sibanyoni, seeing we're sharing similar goals. We will check in daily. Thank you. Thank you so much, Zukiswa. Liletu says, this week I'll start with my assignments and complete those I have started. I will volunteer on Saturday and have the self-care day on Sunday. Thank you so much. I will take anyone who will partner with me. Okay, perfect. Let's have one more person share with us. Candice, this week I'll definitely focus more on being assertive, and in my workplace, I partner with Liletu. Okay, Liletu, you've already found a partner. Tamari, this week I will start using the Pomodoro technique. My accountability will be Praise Munyarazi. We will check in on 10 May. I hope you guys are not just saying this because you're being recorded. We will find you. We will find you. Thank you so much for sharing. That brings us to the end of our session for today. Before I close, I would like to thank everyone for taking the time to come to today's session. And thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and also interacting with me as well as the content. I understand that it might be a daunting experience for some people to talk to a complete stranger. So thank you so much for that. Before I close, do we have any questions regarding the content that I just shared? Any questions that you might have regarding Jobox in general? I'm going to open the floor for 2 minutes for any questions that you might have, and then afterwards I will close the session. I see Andiso says, this week I will start writing my article. I will partner with Zukiswa Jauka. We'll check in daily. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Andiswa. Thank you for your time and effort. I appreciate the session. You're excellent. Thank you so much, Candace. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if there are no questions, then I would like to close the session. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. I hope to see you guys soon when we have our next session. Shireen, over to you.
Thank you so much, Honey, for that. No, it was very nice, that presentation. Even me, I feel motivated. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for the students as well for being interactive in the chat, giving your weekly commitments, and I hope you stick with it. Take what you learned today, apply it in your daily life, whether it is just your normal life or your professional life. Take it forward. And I hope the session was very, very beneficial for you guys. Sunny said she's going to leave her contact details, so she'll put it in the chat. And then if there is anything that you would like from us as well, I'll put our contact details in the chat as well. So then you can just pop us an email. Okay, so if there's nothing else, and thank you so much, guys, for your time. You must have a lovely day further. Thank you, Sunny, again.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Shireen.
Bye.
Bye.